the stock market could continue to rally if the dollar weakens, if there are soft landing data points.
Get ready for a new episode of KP Talks Dollars and Cents. Learn financial literacy and get real-time updates on all things housing, finance, and real estate. So let's get started. Here's your host, Kevin Perenio.
Hey, it's KP coming to you live from Richardson, Texas. You just missed 2 cop cars whizzing by, and that's about right for my old school district here. But before I get into that and why I'm here, let me just say 2 quotes that I heard and I thought were pretty awesome. If you're going to take a shot at the king, don't miss. And here under the stars, we have cloudy skies. So I'll get into the meaning of both those in just a second. But yeah, I'm here in Richardson, which is a north suburb of Dallas County. It's just north of Dallas, Texas. I went to Berkner High School, which is in Richardson Independent School District. And we've got ourselves Wizards right here. There's a Whataburger right back there. You can see a little Whataburger, best burger ever. And Papa Dough, which is nice little Cajun food. So this is I-75. I'm walking around. If you are struggling with substance abuse or know someone that is, gosh, just the same thing I heard every day, every conversation I had here. I'm at this viewing service and a funeral for a really good friend of mine. It's 4 houses down from me growing up. One of my longest friends ever. Our birthdays are a week apart. Always at a minimum, just text and talk on our birthdays, but struggled with drug addiction. And I'll just tell you that every single person here is saying, I wish I would have done more. I wish I would have called. I wish I would have done this. I knew this call was going to happen. And it's so hard. And I'm not obviously, trying to do anything other here than just kind of speak about what we're hearing and feeling today. So who knows? Maybe you can make a difference. We feel like we extended his life a few more years and probably without our help. But anyway, drug addiction is a serious thing. If you can get someone help, please do so. Just make that extra call. Anyway, the Fed spoke at Jackson Hole, and I haven't really had a chance to talk about it since then. But it was interesting. He said, we're under the stars, but with cloudy skies. Of course, they're in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, which is beautiful. And here we are with a waxing gibbous and almost full moon. It's not quite full. And Jerome Powell kept talking about being data dependent and looking at the data and talking about R-star, the neutral rate, right? This new thing we're all talking about. And, we've been talking about being data dependent and everyone's saying, hey, inflation's clearly coming down. We've been seeing all the numbers. We have a huge number coming out Thursday, the personal consumption expenditure, which is the Fed's favorite inflation measure. It literally is like real-time expenditures of what consumers, 70% of our economy and GDP, are spending their money on. Core PCE is a huge number they're looking at. And we got a lot of data points coming out this week. We've got GDP numbers. We've got ISM manufacturing. We have a job opening and labor turnover report. We've got, I'm sure there's retail numbers. There's a 7-year note auction tomorrow. The Friday jobs report. Oh my God, the August jobs report, right? It's a huge number. So much data. And we just keep bouncing around from data to data. It is kind of exciting. It's a little nerdy, kind of reading these reports and seeing what's going on. And then I read this awesome article by Chris Whalen. If you don't know the institutional risk analyst, he's got great stuff. And he sent this article out this morning talking about the one thing that the Fed and Jerome Powell is not talking about. And if you zoom out, he's saying, Jerome Powell keeps talking about being data dependent, which just proves they're short-sighted. And they're not really addressing the fact that we have trillions of dollars in printed debt and new debt, and we are going further and further towards solvency. So it'd be interesting if that conversation comes up, even as we beat inflation and have full employment and get to our neutral rate, which is where we ultimately set, the Fed's rate ultimately sets in at, and the economy is technically neither in expansion nor contraction, whatever that neutral R-star, R rate, R asterisk, whatever, look it up. So, but Chris Whalen's right. Like, what are the consequences of all this crazy monetary policy? You could make excuses. All these monetary, banks, world banks, and leaders around the world that were in Jackson Hole, and the BRICS who just met, they're all putting us through this new modern monetary policy where they're just printing money. Is anyone ever going to have a reckoning? Are we going to have a reckoning for all this debt? The other excuse that Powell has is not just that we're the least dirty clothes in the hamper, but, our government keeps spending. So, fiscal policy is not something that he can control. And he's right. So we keep spending, our grandchildren's, future money, and, tax revenue isn't exactly there either. So anyway, I digress. But anyway, big news week. Not sure how we solve all the big stuff, but we got to do it, or else we're going to have serious problems. The dollar has been rallying for like 6 weeks, getting very strong. And that dollar rallying has made it really tough on foreign markets because the dollar is the world reserve currency. It's the dollar denomination. So, China, for example, they're in a recession. They're having a really tough time. They have to sell dollars, as part of their treasury to help float their government. Or if they have to do business in dollars, they have to sell certain assets in a weaker currency that's not as strong as the dollar to then get into dollar. That's why they formed the BRICS Plus. So the fallout from that last week is no, there isn't a digital BRIC currency yet, right? A rival currency to the Fed coin. They didn't go on the gold standard, but they admitted Saudi Arabia to the BRICS. Remember that BRICS, BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Now Saudi Arabia. Their arch enemy, Iran, UAE, the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Ethiopia. That's not just energy. You've also got Argentina is in there. So you've got some lithium that's in this. So all these countries have been admitted into this BRICS Plus, which is basically a regime kind of like a NATO or a NAFTA or whatever. And everyone's going back to their corners to try and huddle up and get strength in numbers. And if you think about when Russia invaded Crimea, shipping lane, Suez Canal, arch enemies, Iran and Saudi Arabia plus the UAE are now there. They control a shipping lane. There's so much going on here. You think our Navy isn't important? It just got more important than ever to manage all that risk, to put energy and put all these lights on, to get lithium-ion batteries at EVs. You think EVs are bad? There's supposed to be a 35% growth this year alone in EVs. Just since 2018, we've gone from 2 million to 10 million electric vehicles at the end of 2022. That's 14% of all cars are EV. It's coming, just like hybrid closings are coming, right? We're all going to do closings one day. Shout out to SnapDocs and all the other great partners out there doing those, great closings. We all know, the last person on black and white TV knew they would get a color TV someday. The last holdout for air conditioning, they knew they would get air conditioning one day. It's going to be the same thing with EVs. So having energy, having shipping lanes, having lithium, all these things are important. And these countries are rallying against us in the BRICS Plus. So we need to be, cognizant of that. I'll just leave a couple things before I head in. The petrodollar was an agreement back in the Nixon days. It was like 74, where Saudi Arabia agreed to trade in dollars and provide us oil. And that's why Saudi Arabia not going, joining the BRICS Plus is a big deal. It's a huge deal. So, are we losing the petrodollar? They're not saying they don't want to trade with us, but they're making alliances with all of our enemies. It's like 40% of the world's oil is now in this BRICS Plus. And sorry about that. I had to say bye to a buddy. His father passed 2 days after our buddy passed. Sad deal up here. Anyway, just look, the dollar being strong is a big headwind for the stock market. It's headwind for foreign companies. And of course, it's a reason that other nations want to de-dollar. But there's a lot of forces coming together right now. So I'll leave with some positive news here. The stock market could continue to rally if the dollar weakens, if there are soft landing data points. We have seen a technical double top in interest rates. And by the way, the shot at the king, if you don't miss if you shoot the king. That was the Wagner Group guy whose plane got blown up, took a shot at Putin, and that was it. So the stock market can touch on its 200 moving day average. Interest rates have hit the peak of interest rates twice now. in about 10 months, 9.5 months. And so these technical things were all kind of converging on a breakout. What's going to force us to break out? Is it that last Fed meeting? I don't know. But there's a lot of forces. Housing was worse last year than this year. Do you think we're closer to the end of the rate cycle? Closer to the end of this recession in housing? I do. Cheers.
You've been listening to KP Talks Dollars and Cents, a top-rated show for those who want to learn about the economy and mortgage environment. Tune in each week for more episodes, and please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Kevin Perenio does not render or offer to render personalized investment or tax advice through KP Talks Dollars and Cents. The information provided is for informational purposes only and does not constitute financial, tax, investment, or legal advice. For more info, follow KP Talks Dollars and Cents on all of our social channels.